Philosophy. Philosophy is nothing other than the study of things that are invisible, and that happened only once. Part 9. The shadow of the event and the ritual of return. We return again to the fragment, like one who circles the site of a forgotten crime, not to relive it, but to locate something that was never named. Philosophy is nothing other than the study of things that are invisible, and that happened only once. Let us take this slowly, line by line, vort by vort. Nothing other than, here, a reduction, a distillation, is not saying what philosophy includes, but what it is. It names no multiplicity of methods. It makes no room for variation, is not a branch among branches, is the branchless core, a naked trunk. The study of things, the word things here matters. Philosophy is not confined to abstractions, not just ideas, nor systems, nor logic games. The philosopher does not only trade in arguments. No, the philosopher studies things, real ones, subtle ones, impossible ones. The philosopher touches reality directly or not at all, that are invisible. This is the first disqualification of the crowd, because the crowd likes what can be seen, proven, measured. The invisible asks for more than intellect. It asks for faith, yes, but more attention, care, risk. The invisible is that which hides from surveillance but glows in the soul. And that happened only once. This is the second disqualification. For what repeats is what we can build a system on. Science depends on repetition. Engineering lives by it. But philosophy, if true, must be willing to orient itself around the singular event, the one-time tear in the veil. Philosophy is the ritual return to that which happened once and never again, but still shakes the ground of being. So, what is the shadow cast by such an event? Let us begin there. What casts the shadow? The once-only event is not always traumatic, though it often is. It may be a moment of grace, a dream that should not have meant anything, but it did. The first time your name was spoken by someone who loved you and meant it. The precise instant your hand stopped shaking in the presence of something ancient. The quiet instant you heard a sound, not outside, but within, and knew it wasn't madness. These events happen only once and leave a shadow that stretches backward and forward in time. The work of philosophy is not to replicate the event, but to learn how to live under its shadow without distortion. To build a life that honors that strange moment, even if no one else can see it. To return, not as a prisoner of it, but as its caretaker. To say, this happened only once, and it changed everything. 2. The ritual of return. Because the event is non-repeatable, there must be ritual. Ritual is repetition placed in service of the non-repeatable. This is the paradox. The event happened once, but its meaning deepens only when it is returned to again and again. Ritual is not superstition. It is the embodied rhythm that lets us stay in relation to what would otherwise vanish. The philosopher performs ritual through language, by circling an idea, by returning to a phrase, by quoting the same line 10 different ways, by rebuilding the sentence with new timbre, by sitting with a word until it breaks open. Even the fragment we study here has become a ritual site. Each time we read it, it strikes slightly differently, not because it changes, but because we do. To study philosophy, then, is to accept the ritual life, not of repetition for its own sake, but of recurrence in search of reverence. 3. Why this matters now. In a world consumed with content, efficiency, endless scrolls, and the fiction of the feed, fragments like this do not just matter, they disrupt. The Zero Friction Machine Company, understanding this, does not publish such fragments for decor. They are built, yes, built like devices. Small, modular, charged with invisible mechanisms. Each phrase contains a slowing field. Each word is calibrated to resist immediate use. They do not want to be consumed. They want to stain you. They want to mark your life with a line you cannot shake off. That is how you know it is working. Not when it makes sense, but when it refuses to leave. This is not education. This is contact. 4. The dangerous task of remembering. Those who carry these once-only events in their bones are often tempted towards silence, because to speak of them seems either impossible or offensive. No one will believe you. No one will understand. No one will stay with the story long enough to feel its weight. And so the great danger becomes this: to forget it yourself, to explain it away, to rationalize it, to set it aside like something you imagined. But the fragment calls you back. The study of things that are invisible, and that happened only once. It reminds you that not everything you remember is imaginary, and not everything real can be seen. To remember the once only is to live with intensity, not with obsession, but with fidelity. A fidelity to what broke through, even if you do not understand it, even if you cannot explain it, even if it leaves you alone, because there are worse things than loneliness. There is the life of forgetting. The philosopher as anchorite. So the philosopher, in this sense, is like an anchorite. Not a hermit in the woods, but one who has made an inner vow to stay close to the truth of what was, even if it costs them everything. They do not evangelize. They tend. They keep the fire alive. They do not look to win disciples. They look to keep the memory warm. This is why so many philosophers write fragments. They are not trying to build castles. They are leaving fires for the next soul who feels the cold wind and needs to know. You are not mad. You are not alone. Something did happen, and it still matters.